My name is Alfredo Casati. I'm a partner in the architectural firm of Rafael Bigauskas in Toronto. We specialize in high-rise condominiums as well as multi-unit residential developments, master planning, and as well as feasibility studies for many of our developer clients in Ontario and specifically Toronto and the GTA. Art and John, the clients in this project, had approached us with a concept a couple of years ago, and that was to put a bunch of houses or development on top of a residential parking garage in Kleinburg. We had done several projects of this type before, but it never at this type of a scale. So there were many challenges that confronted us in this on this project. Not the least of which was Kleinburg and the heritage component that was involved in building anything in Kleinburg. In researching what we had to do for this project, we realized that the heritage component of this project was a major factor that we had to address. That being said, what we ended up doing was dividing the site into two halves. The southern portion, which were the interior we called, were detached townhouses that sat on a parking garage, whereas the northern half would be the houses that fronted Kleinburg and would be visible from the street. We called this the heritage zone, and we deliberately made these houses in the heritage zone replicas of architectural styles very prevalent in Kleinburg. In the heritage zone, we decided to treat the three houses that faced Stegman's Road as heritage-inspired styles, replicas of prominent architectural styles alive and well in Kleinburg. And that would have been the Ontario Gothic style, the Neo-Georgian style, as well as the Italianate. These houses formed the basis by which you would see the development. It's the first site that you got into the development. And they are going to be true to the architectural nature of those styles that you would see in Kleinburg. The interiors, however, are a different story completely. We decided to do something which was much more contemporary in nature, and we felt that that was responsible and an appropriate response to the heritage conservation principles in Kleinburg, because we did not want to compete with the rest of the heritage components of Kleinburg. Rather, step back and honor what was already here in Kleinburg by keeping it a very simple, contemporary style with rooftops that actually mimic traditional rooftops that you saw in Kleinburg. I think it goes without saying that many developments have underground garages and they're not very unique to developments. This, however, was a special case because of the uniqueness of Kleinburg's village core. If you walk around this area, there's a vitality, there is a low pace in life that is wonderful to deal with. I call it pedestrian in nature. And in doing this project, we realized that the garage served two purposes. Not only did it shelter people from getting into the units from the elements, but it actually served to get rid of the cars at grade, bring all the vehicular traffic into the underground garage where it could be secluded, it could be hidden away, and people wouldn't have to worry or see about it. The best thing about that proposal was that it added vitality to the at-grade context of the site. It became pedestrian in nature. The roads at grade therefore became not roads but promenades or larger sidewalks that we like to see. It animates the at-grade features of every house. It encourages a more laid-back, pedestrian, leisure aspect to traveling through the site, which is very much what Kleinburg is. That being said, in order to get people into the underground garage, we needed a convenience factor for them, and our clients were very adamant that we provide elevators. That allowed people to drive into the garages, into their own private garages within an underground parking garage, enter an elevator, and then move your way up through the floors of your individual unit. One of the more interesting features of the project is what we refer to as the courtyard space, or the space in between the units inside the development. Architects and designers always struggle with how that space is treated for many different reasons, not the least of which is servicing issues. You have to be able to provide servicing to and from each unit in cases of emergency and for convenience, moving in, moving out. One of the things that we were able to do quite cleverly was use the roads as not just roads but promenades, as we like to refer to them. It was a great space for which people can leisurely walk to and from the development within large expansive spaces. Subsequently, we designed the roads so that they wouldn't look like roads. The materiality, the materials that we use to define these spaces look more like large piazzas, large sidewalks, rather than roads in general. One of the unique aspects of our project is its proximity to Kleinburg and the village core. We are literally steps away from walking to some great shops, wonderful restaurants, little boutique places, as well as a proximity to the park that we have immediately to the east of us. We managed to design areas in and around our project so that it would filter people to these areas. The ravine edge of our project is being designed such that there's footpaths to encourage people from the village core come to the site and walk along the ravine paths. People from within our site are also, because of the close proximity, are encouraged to walk to the village center. The idea is that we're really trying to encourage and not essentially force people, but encourage people to do a more leisurely pace, walk, pedestrian traffic, which really does animate a village. The project inspiration was actually Kleinburg itself. Walking around the city, seeing the sights, seeing the way people behave in and around the spaces, viewing the architecture, that truly was the inspiration to our project. One of the things that we struggled with was how to create a project that properly identified density. And by density, I mean the amount of units that were on the development. And we did that by looking around Kleinburg. We noticed the style of architecture. That is reflected in the architecture that we use in Kleinburg. We noticed how cozy these spaces are. We noticed how integrated and animated the streets are with the actual restaurants and shops that you see around Kleinburg. So we tried to mimic that within the development as well by encouraging more pedestrian use. Close quarters, coziness, and a more pedestrian type scale within the development. I think every community struggles with development of one sort or another. Communities are, in essence, living, breathing organisms. They expand, they get bigger in time, and how a community deals with it is very important. Not only will more people be involved in coming into communities, but the sustainability of it is very important so that it's left behind for other people to enjoy. I think that we treated this project with a cultural sensitivity to the architecture and to the people of Kleinburg very well. We were very cognizant of the fact of the amount of units that we were going to be putting on this site, and we were very sensitive to how that was going to be viewed. And I think that by providing the heritage zone that addresses the historic nature of this project with the context of Kleinburg, and then the more contemporary units that reflect what the more modern contemporary look at housing is, I think we were very successful in that regard.